Hello, this is Everett with Einstein 314. It is the 29th of January 2017 and it is 3:13, or actually 3:14 p.m. Arizona time. Now with this part 4 of the Tree of Love. Now the things that I'm about to teach is I want you to keep an open mind and not be so quick to be offended, because I use parables and I use analogy and I also mix that in with truism. Okay, so that what we have here in terms of, say, sexuality. Now, even though this tree is not a human female, there's only so much you can abstract out of it without going deeper. Pardon the phrase, but a male has, once he finds the location, then it's conducive to go as deep as he possibly can without hurting her. And what I observe of her roots, I would say it's pretty deep down there. Okay, so hopefully you're laughing with me. So basically, at this point in terms of a relationship, I have to tell her what I like. And I can't be afraid. I can't pussyfoot around. And then I say, Eileen, do you spit or swallow? And of course, with women out there and with the men out there, you know what I'm talking about. It's like, so Eileen says, well, I'm not sure what you mean by that. I don't have experience in that area. And then I explain myself, and she says, well, you bring me water, so I swallow water. Does that count? I say, you and I are going to get along quite well. Yeah. Okay, so now in reverse on this part 4, the Tree of Love. Now she's got to tell me, communicate to me. And say, well, you don't talk to trees. Trees don't talk. And yes, I do. Is this tree, even though it's a different life form, now when we get hurt, we feel the pain. Okay, it's because of our 5 senses. That's for self-preservation. Well, other life forms may not have, or, meaning if I chop this tree down, it's not like it's saying, oh, for the love of God, you're hurting me. Stop. Okay. Basically, is the point that's being delivered is, do they have a consciousness? Absolutely. So just like if you were paralyzed and you were able to move your limbs, but you have a sense of numbness all throughout your body. So it's kind of like that. It's like I can move my hand, and yet I can't. I have numbness all over my hand and my arm. So that's essentially like trees and plants. Is because otherwise you can say, oh my God, don't cut down the tree. It's going to bleed to death. As where, well, some people could. And so as I'm getting feedback, which can only come back from the communication from the other life. And so when I go over here and I touch the tree, and she's, oh, I like that. Yeah, baby. Give it to me, baby. I like when you touch me there. And I say, yeah? Okay, well, what else do you like? Oh, I like when you touch me there. And you say, oh, yeah, oh, I like when you do that. So, as you can see, the moral of the story of this part 4 is you got to do your part of extracting as much information as possible, establish communications, and then you can fine-tune it. Now, when you fine-tune things, especially as sex or sexuality, is you have to put it in 2 categories. Now, if I wanted this tree to bend down and lay on the ground, and she'll say, well, Everett, I would love to, but I can't. It's not within my ability to do such. So as I experience with women and men, is like, there are some things that people won't do. Okay, now you have to classify, is it because they don't want to do it? or is that they can't do it? So now, as far as the narrow end, because this tree obviously cannot lay down unless the wind blows it down, meaning that you're going to have a person that you're having a relationship with, is they just say they have the ability to do such, and because of certain limitations they have set upon themselves, or it could be something that relates back to a bad experience. And that's where, the element of monogamy comes in terms of evolution. Meaning, you're not supposed to live in today's time as if it was 20 years ago. Because what ends up happening, you end up punishing yourself and you punish those around you. So, that's why we keep certain things. We learn from our past. So we're not taking the past out of that equation. But we are not to live in the present of times as if it's 1865. So at some point you're going to do as much as you can to get as much information you possibly can, and then vice versa. Then I'm going to, like I said, I'm going to have to establish communications, because say for example, it's something that this tree won't do, but it has the capability of doing. Maybe that tree doesn't know how to do it, or it feels inadequate. So, and I had that skill set. I had the ability to develop them and coach them. So there's a big difference of when you say, I can't do it. It's in two categories. Is that you won't do it, or you don't have the ability to do it. So in terms of sex and sexuality in a relationship, that's where you run into a lot of problems, and people get conditioning, classical conditioning, and I also call it, the perfume effect, is when after a while you don't smell the perfume. So when a relationship goes bad, is you're the last person that knows about it. Just like your cologne and perfume. It's like everyone smells you coming a block away, and yet you don't smell yourself. Meaning that you can be the problem or the solution. And if you don't stand back, desensitize yourself, especially in what we're talking about here, the tree of love, is to see and do inventory. Are you partaking as a solution to the problem, or are you partaking as the problem? So if you have a marriage or a relationship or whatever means that you're establishing with the opposite or the same sex, and your relationship is going foul, you're going to have to step back and do inventory, and you're going to have to use your objective and creative mind to figure these things out. And hopefully that your partner is also willing to do the same. Now, of course, if your partner is just dead rock solid like a wrought iron, there's up to a point of beating your head against a wall when you finally say, there are other trees on this block, and I'm going to go to the next tree and see what the next tree can offer me. Now, of course, the theme of this, the tree of knowledge, or the tree of love, is that I'm on a planet, and it's just me in this tree, and how I'm able to extract many words of God, the book of God, which is all around us. So we'll conclude that. Keep it short and simple, and it's very powerful on the message in which I delivered. With that, this is Everett Pierce. Thank you for your time, and Godspeed.